welcome to the Cryptonomatron. Today I'm doing a review on Casper API. Casper API intend to have an ICO in April at some point. The date is not set yet. They are a decentralized storage system on the blockchain. The MVP is ready, so let's take a look at the project and see what I think of it. So there's quite a handy little competitor comparison on the Casper website, and it compares the project with Storj, which you may have heard of, Filecoin, Sia and BlueZell. Now BlueZell recently came off ICO and was relatively successful. It sold out at ICO and is currently at above ICO price, and they don't even have a launched product yet as far as I know, and that'll be coming later this year, maybe in June or July, so it's another one to look out for. But what's the difference between Casper and the other four? Well, there are a couple of differences. Casper focused on working with decentralized apps. They're also able to store files and folders, which only BlueZell does not have the facility to do so. They offer hosting service as well. They support different blockchains. As long as another blockchain has got smart contract, they can integrate their API with it. And they also want to implement a vendor rating plan as well. So a sort of reputation system will be included. So that's the competition in a nutshell. There are others obviously, but there's no point in dredging through loads of them to find out which is which. Casper have obviously had a competitor's analysis and then decided they want to offer more than what their competitors can. So problems they want to solve now, and they are the common problems with centralized data storage, and they include in the main poor security, poor reliability and poor privacy. And the reason for this is they can be hacked and the data can be misused. Because they are normally stored on centralized servers, your data can be accessed by bad actors and people with bad intentions, black hat hackers, etc., and then your data distributed or misused in criminal activities. So the centralized systems have a central point of failure, which is the main failing of them as well, and that is a reliability issue. If the server goes down, then you may not have access to your storage. As well, they do have quite a high cost, and Casper are looking to eliminate that. And the other thing that is pertinent here is there's a lack of developer tools for storage of decentralized applications, or dApps. Now, what that means is you'll be able to have your storage completely decentralized. You have your dApp decentralized, of course, but it will also mean you can use things like multimedia in your decentralized application very smoothly and easily with no additional costs. So Casper have got this interesting solution. They're going to allow people to pay for decentralized storage using the CST token, and also allow people to rent out their hard drive space, receive the CST token as a reward, and thus lower the cost. So I thought I'd use this 9-page cartoon just to illustrate exactly what they're aiming to do. They're obviously going to provide a cheaper service than the centralized systems that are available. You'll be able to pay in Ethereum, Bitcoin, CST, which is a Casper token, or even in US dollars. When paying in dollars, you'll receive documents that you can show your accountant for tax purposes, and you will also receive savings if you pay in the Casper token itself over and above the other payment methods, and this is to incentivize use of the token as well. So if you want to pay for decentralized storage, you can give Casper API dollars. They will exchange it automatically at the current exchange rate, or you can go to the external exchanges and purchase CST yourself with dollars or other crypto, and it's going to be available on the exchanges after the ICO as per usual, and then you're ready to purchase decentralized storage. So then you send the tokens to the smart contract, upload all your files or documents or whatever you want to be giving to the storage, and then the providers that will be providing you with the storage should be online 95% of the time, and they'll be checked on a periodic basis to make sure that they are online. And as the owner of the data, you will be the only one that has access to it as well, and that's important. So if you have vacant capacity on your hard drives, for example, you can then set up a franchise if you hold CST tokens and rent out your storage as a result and receive the CST tokens back as a reward. So this is the way it works. You pass your CST tokens to the smart contract, they get activated. Activated tokens, however, cannot be sold or lent for 30 calendar days since the moment the data starts to upload, and this ensures that you're doing what you say you will do, and you'll try to be online as well, so you're not wasting people's time. And as soon as a order for storage appears, you get contacted and you get your smart contract activated, and then your tokens go into like a sort of escrow and get locked for 30 working days. Once you've been online for the whole month, then you get your remuneration as well, and then it's up to you whether you want to change your CST token for dollars. However, if you don't save the data, then you take your activated tokens away, you get blocked, and you'll not be able to continue working with the system, which ensures, again, everybody is trying to do the right thing. So after that, you'll be able to have your own fund and pay for tariffs in dollars as well. You will also be able to increase your funds by 10% from every deal between dApps and providers. And if you also sell too many CST for any given reason, you can go to the exchange and obtain more of them as well. So that's pretty much how it works. Casper draws interest as well. You can purchase decentralized storage at a cheaper rate, and also providers can make profits from their vacant storage space on their hard drives. So there's this great Excel spreadsheet they've provided that shows all the forecasting, the token distribution, operations costs, capital expenditure, taxes, financing, etc. Very, very well put together. Normally something that would be associated with a business plan, which only investors buying equity would see. And it's useful because you can change the scenarios from conservative to basic or neutral, also to aggressive as well, and see the different market share that they could potentially get and potential price of the tokens, etc. So it's interesting to look. And since we're in the marketing section, we have the metrics here as regards the CDN market, CDN storage market, and here we see the volume of CDN traffic per month in terabytes at 56.7, 56.8 million this year, and growing, of course, exponentially year on year. And the volume of traffic for decentralized apps will also increase as well. We're not seeing much of it at the moment. This year it'll be very low, but it's predicted to grow quite significantly by 2022. And as a result, the storage market globally is at 690 million terabytes, which is some phenomenal figure there this year. Again, set to grow exponentially to 2022 as well. So I'll leave a link to this document below. As I say, there's three scenarios. This is the most conservative, and this is the token price as well, which is based on the elements above, and they can be changed if we click back on contents and go to summary. In fact, we can change the scenario here. So let's go for an aggressive scenario, and if they sell out completely in the ICO, and then we go back to the token price forecast and the market summary, we can see everything's changed now, with the market summary remaining the same, obviously, as they've done their market research, but you can see the token prices are actually increasing much more year on year, and there we see a 10x by 2019 up to almost 100x by 2022. So you know, you can have a little play around with that. I'll leave the link to it in the description below. But again, it just shows the the market research has been done here, and I like to see that. I like to see that they're actually thinking about a business plan rather than just launching something and hoping everybody FOMOs into an ICO. So that's very reassuring. So just a quick Google turned up this result here for the potential market. The Content Delivery Network market, or CDN storage market, is worth $30.89 billion by 2022. There is obviously a paid subscription service. You can download the report, but the report, I'll just read this briefly. The report, the Content Delivery Network market by type, core solution, adjacent service provider, organization size, vertical and region, global forecast to 2022 is expected to grow from US 7.47 billion in 2017 to US 30.89 billion by 2022. So annual compound annual growth rate of 32.8% during the forecast period as well. So a rapidly growing industry, and one that's going to require decentralization, I believe, especially with the current scandals going on with Facebook selling data and increasing public scrutiny of centralized systems, and with the new technology, it's certainly going to be a market share that decentralized networks, decentralized solutions will be able to take a big advantage of. So they've selected the Ethereum blockchain on the strength of its current characteristics, that it's obviously Turing complete for smart contracts, and it's very reliable, I think, is the other main reason. But they're also prepared to switch if it's not going to meet their requirements for the Casper project. They also mention another blockchain, Graphene, here, which they say fully meets their requirements for Casper creation. So if Ethereum's not developed on a sufficient level, by the time the prototype readiness is done, then they will write it on Graphene. So use cases for the Casper API will be anything that requires decentralized storage and is prohibited by the cost at the moment. So you could have your music shop entirely online on the Casper API. You could also have a game on the network, other stuff on the cloud, social media, for example, if you've got social media service or social media website, and even government services as well could be on blockchain platforms as well. So the use case is quite large for decentralized storage, and they're hoping to lure in decentralized apps as well that will use their storage system to secure their files, because if you run a smart contract, you'll be able to basically use their storage facilities by utilizing their API, which is the simplicity behind it all, and I think which is one of the most selling points behind it, one of the biggest selling points behind it. So they're using ZK snarks, and this means that there'll be quite a high level of privacy, and it'll be suitable for corporate usage as well. So the basic concept of it all is the stored files will be encoded. There'll be high file upload and download rates because we're using a peer-to-peer technology here, much like BitTorrent. There'll be shared file access as well, and also feasible data storage pricing. So it's not going to be too expensive for those commercial operations or even individuals to be able to afford. So the technology then, and we'll have a look at the MVP in a second. This was going to allow high-speed access to your files, obviously. It uses ZK snarks, which was first used by Zcash for data encryption, and that allows your data to be encrypted, then sent to the storage so that only you have the ability to look at your data. Each file is stored by 4 independent storage capacity providers, meaning it's reliable and you won't lose your data. The API can be used by any decentralized app, providing it uses a language that's recognizable, such as, for example, JavaScript. And this means it can enable the decentralized app multimedia while still preserving features that are inherent to the blockchain technology. such as security and transparency and everything else. So very interesting. Now let's take a quick look at the minimum viable product. Okie dokie, so let's take a look at the demo, or the minimum viable product, or MVP. There are 34 nodes online, 16 are offline. There is 421 gigabytes free of the total 423.4 gigabytes, and there are nodes in Australia, Germany, Russia, Ukraine and the USA. So let's try and upload a file. Try and upload my rating sheet here, see whether that works. There we are. It's preparing the file for upload. It does take a couple of minutes. It then splits the file into different chunks and spreads them over replicates and spreads them over 4 different sources. So you can always retrieve your data. Just wait a second. It's taking quite a bit of time, but of course and that's the way it's going to be. And there we are. You can see the file has been uploaded. It has been replicated into 4 places. Tells you when it was updated, and you can rename it if you'd like, or delete it, or even download it if you've only uploaded it and don't have it stored anywhere else. So that's the demo. Very, very simple, very easy to use, very user friendly. User interface is very good, very handy. Yeah, so again, you know, very good sign that they have a working product already. They at least have the MVP of the working product, so they won't be too far away from implementation, and we'll look at that when they're going to implement when we get to the roadmap section. So as well as just using the demo, you can actually become a provider. They have a downloadable app for Ubuntu, Windows, and also Debian as well. I was going to download it, but it's taken a bit too long, so I'm not going to demo it in this video. But you can actually become a provider and use your unutilized storage to be part of the MVP, which is interesting. Also important to note, they do have the pre-ICO smart contract available on GitHub, so you can actually go and use it, test it, and have a look at it. So let's take a look at the token use now, and it's going to be used for a multiple amount of things on the system. First thing is storage volume registration for providers. The exchange rate is currently 1 Casper token for 25.6 gigabyte. And it will basically go into escrow for 30 days if you want to provide, or you want to share your excess data storage space to clients. So the reason for this is to stop people just signing up and then, you know, not providing the service. So this ensures that you're up 95% of the time, that you provide the storage that you said you were going to in the first place. Otherwise, your tokens are forfeit, and you'll be blocked from using the system. So it's the only way they can really ensure there's some integrity in the system from the providers. Second of all, it will be used for payments for storage services. So if you're a client, if you're a company and you want to store your stuff on the Casper API, then you'll need to pay in CST. You can pay in US dollar as well, or fiat currencies they say, and they'll do the exchange for you. Number 3, it will be used for network fees. Number 4, it will be issued as rewards to providers that are renting out their data storage. And it can be exchanged for USD on the Casper API. If you want to pay in fiat instead of CST tokens, you'll be able to do so. However, I believe if you pay in CST tokens, you will get a discount over all the other payment methods, including other types of cryptocurrencies. And number 6, it will be tradable on external exchanges when it's launched after the ICO. So if you're a provider, you can stake your tokens in exchange for a certain amount of free space that you've got on your hard drives, and you have to follow some rules for participation. Obviously, there's no point in you just being online for 3 days a month. You have to be up online for 95% of the time. So you can actually join just now and sign up and download the client as well. As I said before, it's available for Windows and a couple other, Ubuntu I think, and another one. But you can calculate the provider's income if you were actually using your hard drive or renting out your hard drive for excess space. You can calculate it. So let's say we're in USA, for example, and we have a 48 terabyte volume hard drive capacity we want to rent out. Now, your investment would have to be $2,220. Now, that includes the cost of 1,920 CST tokens. Remember, you have to stake these for a minimum of 30 days to be able to rent out your hard drive space. This stops bad actors from getting involved, and people that are just not interested in providing the service. And your profit per month, they say, is going to be around $417, which is pretty good. And your return of investment or profitability comes after 5.3 months. Now, that's pretty good. That's, in comparison to current cryptocurrency mining, it's actually a lot better. And if you see down at the bottom, they've actually broken down the calculations. So you've got your internet fee every month, your your cost of hard drive, which is $102, your cost of a NAS storage system, which is $125, your cost of electricity, which is 11 cents per minute, and also even the cost of your router figured in there. And that's what adds up to your investment cost, along with the amount of the tokens, the cost of the tokens, and then your resultant profit. So if you want to do the math here, you're probably better off getting involved at ICO, where you can pick the tokens up at a reasonable price, because the lower the amount of money you pay for the tokens, the more profitable this is going to be if you intend to become a Casper API provider. So as far as I know, there's no red flags for this project, but if you do know of any, please let me know in the comments below. As usual, this is a community and we have to protect each other and share information. Now, there was a little thing that I noticed about the team. Some of them didn't have their or didn't have Casper API on their LinkedIn pages. Some of them don't even have LinkedIn pages, but I've checked out the company. It's legit. They've got a video of them in the office, so that reassured me that they actually do exist and they're actually behind this project. So that was good. Maybe a little bit more focus would be nice on the team, and and a little bit more information perhaps, because like I said, a lot of them don't have any LinkedIn pages, only a couple of Facebook pages, but so no red flags really, but just something that I noticed, and something that I was going to flag up in this section, but then I found them on YouTube, so there was no issue. They haven't set a date for the token sale yet. It's going to be sometime in May. I said late April 2018 earlier, but it looks like they're holding it back till May, which I think is very sensible. We could go on another bull run, and really, if you're launching ICOs and trying to raise money, you want the market sentiment to be very positive. So they've already had a pre-ICO. They raised a little over $1 million, and the tokens were sold for 8 cents a piece. At the ICO pre-sale, they will be sold for 12 cents a piece, and at the ICO crowd sale, they will be sold for 16 cents a piece, and they're trying to raise a further 32 million to get the project off the ground. The total distribution is as follows. There are a total of 440 million tokens available. 42% will be available for the pre-sale ICO, 14% will be available for the crowd sale, 20% for system reserve, 15% for the team, 2% for advisors, 1% for a bounty campaign, 5% for partners, and then there was 3% sold during the pre-ICO, totaling about 13 million tokens. So the token will be an ERC20 compliant token, and for news, I would join their Telegram or sign up to their mailing list on their website for the kickoff date for the ICO. So while I was going through the material, I didn't see any information about a token burn or what they were going to do with any remaining tokens if they don't make the hard cap. So I asked them on Telegram, and as you can see here, they've given me an answer. The Nurlan, who's involved with Casper APIs, also a admin on the Telegram group. He says they're actually planning to make a fund to support promising decentralized apps so that they can store their data in the infrastructure on better agreements than others, and the community can vote about who to choose, so they can vote on which apps to choose. So in case you were wondering about token burn, there's not going to be one, but they will hold the funds in reserve so they can support the use of the ecosystem, which I think is good because it will encourage more decentralized apps to use it, which is the whole point, and then everybody benefits. Casper API are having a bounty campaign as usual. Everybody must join the Telegram group. There is 1% of the tokens available for the bounties. Bounties will be paid in the Casper tokens, and it started on the 1st of February 2018 and will proceed until spring 2018. It's still open at the moment, so you've still got time to participate should you want to. Now the breakdown is as follows: 30% will be dedicated to signature campaign on Bitcointalk forum, 15% for Facebook and Twitter campaigns, 30% for media campaigns, 15% for moderation, 1% for a Telegram airdrop, and 9% for future contests, including future advertising, turbo and bug bounty where applicable. As per usual, need to fill in a Google form to participate, and check your participation on the spreadsheet, and also follow all the rules, and they're all individual depending on what campaign you are participating in. So I'll leave the link below as usual. You can join and participate and spread the word if you like this project. So on this beautiful website, this is the roadmap. They were founded back in 2011, so they're part of what's called Legion Digital Company. They had this idea back in May 2017. The white paper project was implemented in November 2017, and they held their pre-ICO last year in December 2017. They raised $1 million, just over $1 million in just over an hour. Very, very good going, and a lot of publicity. I was actually going to participate in this at the pre-sale, or pre-ICO should I say, because it's quite confusing. They have a pre-ICO, then they have an ICO pre-sale, then an ICO crowd sale. So pre-ICO was held, and I was going to participate, just put a couple of ether in, which I had at the time. I thought the project was interesting, and I missed it for whatever reason. It went off my radar, or I was out when the ICO happened, and I couldn't get involved. So I was a bit annoyed because it was something that I wanted to get in on at the earliest level to maximise any potential profits. Now, fortunately, the ICO is still going to go ahead, and the date I've been given is the 30th of May. So the ICO pre-sale will start on the 30th of May. As to the actual ICO crowd sale, we don't know yet. So if you want the 12-cent tokens, participate in the next batch. So the next date is suppliers will join the system in March 2018. First dApps, or decentralized applications, will join the system in April 2018. The ICO, May 2018, as we just said. The alpha version will be launched in July 2018, and then the beta version will be available for testing in October 2018. Final release January 2019, and then suppliers will be hooked up sometime in 2019 as well. So not that long a roadmap to wait. We also, we can already see an MVP, a working product, where you can actually use the system as a provider and also upload data as well. So it's working. So I don't think it will be long before we see the full implementation. So it's exciting. It's a real product. It's out there already, and we're not far off the full release as well. So the Casper API team was one of my major concerns looking at this project, because it's quite a small team, it's quite localized, it's mostly Russian, except a couple of the advisors. And I was a bit worried because looking through their LinkedIn profiles, I saw that a couple of them didn't mention Casper API. There's also a few team members, if we look here, that don't have LinkedIn profiles or any contact details whatsoever. These two advisors, for example. And also Elena and Vadim and Yuri. I've only got Facebook pages, which I've checked out, and they're legitimate people, but it doesn't really bode well. Everybody looks for LinkedIn pages when you're looking through the team to see their career, to see what they've been up to. So these guys have only got even emails, not even got Facebook pages, so it's difficult to see where everybody is and what they're doing. However, I did watch a video on their YouTube channel where they were in the office, and I could see that they're a legitimate company, and the team is actually in existence. It's not just a made up team. So that being said, let's have a look at a couple of the core team members and see what they've been up to. So Artem Koltsov is the founder at Casper API. He's also a member of the Parliament of Russia, the State Duma. So that's quite interesting indeed. And he's on the videos. He sounds quite an articulate guy, and he looks very passionate about what he's doing. And you know what he's doing at the Parliament? He's the head of Digital Economics and Blockchain Technologies Expert Group, which is very interesting. And what they do, they consult deputies about innovative changes, and they help to adopt regulations as well. So he's involved at that level. He's also the ownership and CEO of a company called Legion, which is a digital agency, and they were involved in mobile development, web integration, digital marketing, etc. Next guy is Stanislav. He's also on one of the videos. He's the guy with the big hair. I don't know how he keeps his hair intact. I'm a baldy, so it's easy for me to have a shower. I don't even need any shampoo. But this guy doesn't mention Casper API on his LinkedIn page, which I found was strange, and that alerted me a little bit. But when I saw him on the video, it reassured me that he actually does exist. He's a programmer, and he's the Chief Technical Officer at Casper API. So the other guy, and the final one I want to bring to your attention, is Nurlan. I won't even try and pronounce his second name, and he is the Chief of Marketing. I just briefly spoke with him on Telegram, so he does exist. And again, he is experienced in digital marketing. He's worked for Cavo Kerr, and also he's been an event manager at Cavo Dental as well. So he's got a little bit of experience. Overall, I would say the team is not the best team. It's quite a small team. It has relatively little experience, but I think the CEO's position at the Russian Parliament has to be taken into consideration, and sort of gives it a couple of bonus points. So overall, the team looks competent. They're obviously able to implement. We've seen the MVP already, so no real concerns over the team, but it could be stronger. It's certainly by no means the strongest team that I've ever seen, and it's a bit thin on the ground as well. There's no, there doesn't seem to be much depth or breadth either. So they're partnered with Legion Digital, and they're a big data marketing company. They have partners like Pfizer, the administration of St. Petersburg, BioCAD as well, SMR Peterhof is mentioned, and Sauberbank as well. And there you can see Artem is the founder there as well. So moving on, another interesting company they're partnered with is this MT Mining, I think, and this looks like a cryptocurrency advice company as far as I can tell. They talk about blockchain, very interesting, nice website, it scrolls very well. I had to translate it from Russian though, I don't read Russian very well. And they can advise you on different things, whether you're running an ICO, mining, cryptocurrency trading, that type of thing. And lo and behold, there are our friends Artem, Vitaly there, and Stanislav, as well as Nurlan and Anton as well. So those are the partners. As you can see, they're probably all working out the same office in St. Petersburg in Russia. I don't see any other partnerships of significance, but if I'm wrong, put in the comments below and share with the community. So let's look at the community now, and they have quite a lot of press coverage, so they've been getting a little bit of support in the news. They've been featured in Crypto Insider, CoinFox, Crypto Potato even, that's one I've never heard of before but sounds interesting, and some Eastern European and Russian publications as well. So they are active on quite a few social media channels. They're on Telegram, they have a GitHub as we've already established, they're on Twitter, Medium, Facebook, Steemit, Reddit and Bitcointalk forum as well. So let's have a quick look at their Twitter. They've only got 1,600 followers, so they need to build up a little bit more community support and hype behind this project, I feel. And they've only got 1,384 members in their English Casper group. They do have a Russian group though, but for some reason I couldn't find it. There might be more members in that. And the Medium blog is quite interesting too if you want to know a little bit more about the project and you know what it's all about. So overall they're trying their best, but the community really needs to get a little bit more behind this project, and the hype needs to build in order for this to be a success. Okay, it's verdict time again, and first off, the positives as usual. I always end my reviews with positives, negatives, the final verdict, but also I've added some possible gains in there as well. So let's look at the positives. First one, they had a pre-sale smart contract on GitHub. Shows they're a serious company in my opinion. Number two, this successful pre-sale, or pre-ICO as they call it, has already been concluded. It was very successful. They raised over $1 million, and that indicates there is some hype behind this project already, and there is some interest in it. Number three, very important, they have a minimum viable product. You can test it as an alpha. It's available, so it works, and it's very smooth and very impressive. Number four, another bonus here is the fairly short roadmap until full implementation and full product launch in early 2019. And number five, they already have a couple of successful businesses and therefore revenue coming in, which will assist this project in success. Number six, they have competitive advantages over their rivals. I listed them in the competition section. The timestamps are all below if you want to go back and watch it, if you haven't already. And I think this project just offers a little bit more than what the rivals do. Number seven, there's a large target market out there. Decentralized storage is probably going to be the next the next cloud storage, the next way of storing your data and important documents. It's more secure, it's more private. So there's a large market there, and Casper API, if they do their work properly, then they can tap into that, and it can be very lucrative. Number eight, the CEO is in the Russian State Duma. That means he's advising them on cryptocurrency already, and that will obviously you'll have a lot of influential friends there, and that does count a lot when you're running a business. Number nine, the fact that you'll be able to earn for renting out your free storage space will incentivize users of this platform. So there'll be no shortage of people that will look to this as a source of regular income. Number 10, they're not that low, but they are pretty low token prices. From 8 cents to 16 cents isn't too bad given the circulatory supply of this project. Number 11, the website design has to be mentioned. It is very, very good. The logo's excellent, the branding's very good. They really thought about the branding, and I think it works. And branding might just be enough for them to rise a little bit above some of their rivals. Who knows? And number 12, finally, Stanislav's hair is magnificent. So on to the negatives now, and there are quite a few. Number one, there's no token burn, which may lead to a larger supply circulating, and that might put some investors off. Number two, I mentioned it before in the team section, I feel the team could be a bit stronger. I don't think they've got advisors that they need to push this project to full success. Number three, compounds just what I said. There's not much info on the advisors, unfortunately, so my knowledge about them is very, very limited. Number four, it's currently lacking a little bit of hype and support in the community. It needs a lot of hype for this to sell out, and therefore go into the exchanges in demand, and it needs a lot of support in the community. The ICO is over 6 weeks away. In fact, it's over, I think it's about 10 weeks away. So, there's plenty of time for this to build up and get the hype and support that it needs. But currently, it is lacking. And number 5, this may affect it adversely. It has many better known rivals. The other guys in the space, in the decentralized storage space, have been around a lot longer and they're better known. Number 6, I feel also that the hard cap is rather high for this type of project. I think $33 million as a total hard cap for the 3 ICO stages is just a tad high. Having it under 20 million, say about 15, 16 million would have been more than sufficient, I feel, to implement this project and also encourage more investors. The high hard cap could mean it hits exchanges with a possible market cap in excess of $33 million, and that will limit the investment growth. So if you put money in, you know, it's only going to grow so far. I don't think this project has got the potential to suddenly just 10x off the bat. You know, so it's going to have to be a longer term play, I think, this one, and any investment in it will be for, in the main, people that are actually want to use the platform and participate in it, either as a provider or actually purchase a storage space. And as a result of that, number 8, the final negative, success will depend on the number of clients they've got. Now, there'll be no shortage, as I said, of providers rushing to sell their, to stake their tokens and you know, rent out their storage space, the free storage space they have on their hard drives. But that won't go any way to ensuring this project is a success. It will need the clients that are paying them for storage of data. It's the only way this thing can succeed. So let's look at the potential gains. So in an ultra bearish market, I've got this down as just a 1x. I don't think it's going to go up much, and it's not going to go down much either. Bearish market, again, I can't see it making any gains based on the you know, the market sentiment at the moment, and there's lots of currencies not doing particularly well that have way more hype and more liquidity than this one. So yeah, again, it might go up a little bit, it might go down a little bit. In a bullish market, I think we could see some interest in it purely because as a provider you could potentially earn money out of it every month, and therefore I think the tokens might have some demand. And of course it is the providers that are going to want these tokens, because you know, you could have terabytes upon terabytes of disk space that you want to rent out to make your monthly commissions off, and of course you're going to have to stake tokens. Depending on how many terabytes you've got, the more tokens you'll have to stake. And in a permabull market, I think over the space of a couple of years, if this is successful, we could see 7.5 times ICO price for this project. But again, you know, it's not just the price of the tokens we have to bear in mind here. We have to consider that actually holding on to them, if you decide to rent out your hard drive space, will be the key to making gains here. So for flipping, it's going to entirely depend on hype on this one, I'm afraid. Now, I can't judge because I don't read Russian and I don't have any news in Russia how hype this is in Russia. This could potentially sell out just from the hype in Russia alone. I don't know. So this one, I'm going to leave it entirely dependent on hype. If it sells out and meets the hard cap quite quickly, which is a potential it could, then flipping for this project could be very good. However, if it doesn't, then flipping, if there's no demand, you know, it's not really going to be applicable here. And especially, a lot of people will be picking up these tokens, wanting to become providers and earn the monthly revenue. And that's why I say, for hodling, it will interest users or providers primarily. It might not be a good one to hodl over the long term if you're just looking for gains from the currency. So final verdict time now, and I've said for this project that it's a solid project worthy of consideration, and I'm going to give it 3 out of 5 stars. Right, and the reason I'm giving it 3 out of 5 stars is I think it's solid, it's good, but it may have limited appeal. You know, it's entirely reliant on clients using it, and if providers outweigh the clients, then it could diminish quite quickly, because it needs the clients, you know, it needs the demand for storage space to in turn incentivize the providers to use it. So it's a bit of a vicious circle, a bit of a catch-22. However, you know, if you're looking to earn monthly income, this could be a potential money spinner for you. If you've got a lot of excess storage space, it might interest you. And guys that have been using their hard drive space to mine burst and those types of coins, then this might be certainly of interest. So it's a solid project and definitely worthy of consideration in the coming weeks. And who knows, by May, when they kick off on May 30th, market sentiment might have improved dramatically since then. I expect it will have. So this might be a project, a wee gem that many people may miss as well. And if you get the tokens for a reasonable price, you could make quite a lot of money out of this. Not just from the the monthly revenue you'll be getting as well, but you have the token staked. So yes, worthy of consideration. I'm going to leave it there, guys, because I'm getting a bit of a hoarse throat. So thanks for watching again. Please press like and please subscribe. I appreciate all your views and comments and everything. If you've got anything to say about this project, leave a comment below. I try to respond to everybody whenever I can and as soon as I can. Always remember, guys, I'm not a financial advisor. I just do these videos for entertainment purposes only. So don't use this as financial advice. It's for entertainment, not meant as financial advice. Please get that straight. And another thing I have to reiterate is I wasn't paid by Casper for this project, and this is just my own opinion. This is not a paid review, and they haven't given me any money, tokens, or any bribes or incentives to do this review whatsoever. So that's it. So if you're going to invest, always remember ICOs pose inherent risk. Do your own due diligence. Don't take advice of YouTubers, please. Honestly, I mean, if my video helps you, great. But don't take my advice. Don't base your investment decisions on any YouTubers. Really, please don't. That's the most stupid thing you could do. Always do your own research. Do your own due diligence, and always invest wisely. Invest very cautiously indeed, and never invest more than you can afford to lose. Okay, guys, that's me for today. I'll be back tomorrow with another video. Thanks for watching. Love you all. Peace. I'm out. I'm going to the pub. I'm going to get drunk. Bye-bye.